It's my party, and I'll scry if I want to.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian, and today I'm playing again Galadriel of Lothlórien. I have made some changes to this deck since the last time you saw it, but this deck is super fun with a ton of go-offitude. As you might have guessed, this deck's about scrying, seeing into the future, and finding lands. Galadriel is a very, very strong commander in a very strong color pair. Simic. Blue gives you counter spells, gives you card draw, and green gives you big, scary things you can ramp into. In fact, I'll say it's kind of open to you, the person building the deck, to put in whatever big, scary green things you would like. I personally have chosen Emrakul, who's technically colorless, but, you know, goes great with all these other big, beautiful cards like Your Best the Sea Gods and Elder Gargaroth. We can also take some extra turns off things like Time Warp and a very specific to this deck card, Lost Isle Calling. So in this deck, we want to scry, and we want to scry, and we want to scry again, because every time we do, if Galadriel's on the board, we get to reveal the top card of our library, and if it happens to be a land, you can put it into play tapped. Now, this is especially good with the lands that enter the battlefield and immediately scry, because you can actually get these cards into play, scry to another land, and then keep getting landfall triggers. And those landfall triggers are great for cards like Tireless Tracker, Tireless Provisioner, Scoot Swarm, Nissa, Lotus Cobra. There are so many great landfall cards we have access to in Arena, which go great with Galadriel. But Galadriel actually has a second piece of text. It's not relevant very often, but I feel like I should point it out. If you choose a ring bearer when you're tempted by the ring other than Galadriel, then you get to scry 3, which then kicks off all those sweet scry benefits on top of getting you a ring bearer. So we do have a little bit of ring temptation in this deck through cards like, oh goodness, I have to find you. Bombadil's Song. It's not the best protective spell. I would say it's a lot worse than something like Tamio's Safekeeping, but it fits the theme. And then I'd say the ultimate ring tempts you card is Elrond, Lord of Rivendell. Elrond gives you scry, gives you the ring tempting you, and goes pseudo-infinite with a card in this deck. It goes pseudo-infinite with Scoot Swarm. Yeah, if you manage to get this Elrond in play, and then you keep getting those creature enters the battlefield, so you scry, and when you scry, you see a land, and then the land comes into play, so you get more creatures. You can kind of go nuts with Scoot Swarm. I love this. I think it's very fun. I don't get to play Simic that often because I kind of shy away from extra turns and counter spells, but, you know, I love having an excuse to be a little bit of a villain, and being an elven blue-green villain is so much more palatable to me than being an Esper villain. So we're gonna take Galadriel into the queue, and we're gonna scry up some lands. Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, a proliferating lass who flies in the air and has a whole bunch of keywords: Vigilance, Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink, if I remember right. We have a decent hand here, mostly because we have Gretchen Titchwillow, who's just a little bit of a sit there and stare at you while you ramp or play counter spells and activate her whenever you happen to have an extra mana open. Gretchen is a villain. Yes, I know, she's an adorable little hobbit. Well, halfling druid. That's just the D&D version of a hobbit. But she is the monster. When you see a Gretchen across the table from you, you should know fear. So here comes Gretchen. Atraxa, do you know fear? This Atraxa deck could be based around any sort of counters. Those could be loyalty counters on planeswalkers, +1/+1 counters on creatures, or even poison counters on me. We won't know until they start placing those counters, so let's wait and see what happens. I'm going to play Oracle of the Alpha. Oracle of the Alpha has an upside and a downside in this deck. The upside with Oracle of the Alpha is that you're shuffling the Power 9 into your library, and whenever this attacks, you scry. The downside is the Power 9 going into your library actually makes it a lot less likely that you'll hit lands off of Galadriel. Also, Fleet Easley, thank you so much for the 15-month resub! An Astral Cornucopia. I could just destroy that right now, but I want to scry. Galadriel, come on down! We're going to use this Forsaken Crossroads. I'm going to name blue off it, and it's going to give me a Scry. That's an Arwen. Arwen's great. Not what I want right now. Show me the money! It was Kiora Best of Sea Gods. All right, so we're going to Scry that away using Oracle of the Alpha. No, we don't need that. It's a really great card. Not what I want right now. And I reveal a land, Crystal Grotto, which scries on enter the battle, and we're cool. Get out of here. And I reveal Coma. Okay, so I have a Coma going into my hand next turn unless I get milled or they mess up my hands. Yes, Dr. Fabulous in the chat mentions that in their Galadriel deck, they're actually running the Merit Lage Snowlands combo to, well, flip over Merit Lage. Well, I guess get a Merit Lage token, technically. And yes, you can do that, and it's very, very strong. I'm just not doing it in this deck because, I don't know, there's so many things you can do. I decided to focus a little bit more on the Simic stuff. Alright, I've got my Tireless Provisioner. I've got my Reclamation Sage, but I'm going for Elrond. Ba-bam. Attack with my Oracle of the Alpha, and Elrond is also some payoff for Scry. Now, this Mox Jet could be fine to get in hand. It gets me to Coma next turn, and I don't have Galadriel out for the reveal. So I'm okay with that. I just kind of want an untapped mana source so I can play Coma, because Coma's a really good card. Here comes Atraxa. Now, as far as things for Atraxa to proliferate go, right now they just have the Astral Cornucopia, which is probably going to be my target for Reclamation Sage. I could go for Coma here. We cast that. Do I want to, or do I fear their excessive mana? I think I fear the excessive mana. So I'm going to take this Reclamation Sage, and I'm going to blast it. I don't have an attack with my Oracle here, unless I want to trade with Atraxa, because she does have Death Touch. We would get the +1/+1 counter. We can put it onto the Oracle. But I just want to wait for a second here and see what I got off Gretchen. Ooh, Renin 7. She makes big trees. Or puts things in your graveyard and gets a land. So we saw a Memory Lapse, Vivian Reed, and Kaya go into the graveyard, which confirms that this is, in fact, a Super Friends deck. Alright, as Atraxa swings in, I am going to activate Gretchen. We did not get a land. I will not block. And they are looking, I think, to hit that -8 bright and early off of the Ren and 7. So I'm probably going to be yeeting a bunch of creatures over at Ren. Here comes Galadriel. And I'm going to attack and attack. I mean, I can also throw that Rex Sage in. Sure, why not? I take some damage off Oath of Kaya. There's a Vorinclex on top of my deck, which I actually think is obscenely good against an Atraxa deck since it would stop their counters, but it wouldn't be very fun. So I'm not going to do that. And instead, I'm going to reveal... Oh, look, a land. I love a good land. Kate Crusade, thank you for the sub! I may as well keep my Oracle of the Alpha alive, killing their Atraxa, and hope that they don't just, like, have a board wipe. One of the big downsides of playing against a Super Friends deck as a creature-based deck is that you will run into a good amount of counter spells and a good amount of board wipes. There's... Yeah, and there's even, like, a board wipe that is a Planeswalker. Talking about that Elspeth, or not Elspeth, a Wanderer. Okay, they milled a Wash Away, Void Rend, and a Shoulder's Edict and Arcane Signet. There were no lands in the top 4 of their deck. Yeah, I feel like just getting a card that stops your opponent from getting counters is... Yeah, it just shuts them off, and they're gonna leave. And I want to play Magic. Alright, are they killing us? They are. They are killing the Oracle of the Alpha, but since they target it with an ability, this Elrond lets me draw a card. I found an island. Island means more landfall, means more fun. And a prologue to Pheresis. This gives them an alternate route to victory where they can just proliferate this little poison counter. Once I have 10 of those, I lose the game. And I'm not a loser, I'm a winner. Isn't that right, Nissa? Nissa, please scry for me. Ooh, a Scry of 2 reveals a Dreamroot Cascade. Let's get some counters on my buddies here. Reveal! Looking good. I'll just go ahead and throw down Nakoma. Nakoma's a good snake. And this is going to hit me twice, but I do have the opportunity here to take out both of these planeswalkers and also get some damage on face. Yep, I've attacked 2 different planeswalkers, so Oath of Kyre triggers twice. And we get a snake! If they have a way to kill this before I have the snake, they might do it, since otherwise I have the ability to give it indestructible or cut them off from something. Oh, it's Karn. I don't know what you're trying to get off that Karn, but I don't want you to have it, so I'm going to counter it with the Tail's End. And the Atraxa has left the game. We're going to have so much damage on the board because we have those big green things. We're getting rewards for scrying every turn. GG Atraxa. Kenrith, the Returned King. It's a 5-color commander that's really probably just going to be 5-color good stuff, but I won't know until they start playing. Sometimes it's 5-color humans. Sometimes it's 5-color some weird type of creature I don't even know about. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, Planeswalker, Super Friends. Who even knows? Ooh. Turn 1 elf. Turn 2 elf. Turn 3 bounce things. I'm going to keep this. What this series of cards does not have is lands. But it has everything else. It has ramp. It has scry. Scry payoff. It has bounce scry. It's great. They're ramping into the north. Alright, they're gonna get a snow dual land, and they have a world tree, so once they get to 6 lands, all their mana will tap for whatever color. In Search of Greatness. And do I want this Temple of Mystery? Or do I want to just play this tapped? I'm going to use the scry here, even though I already know what's on top. Because we have plenty of scries available, and this land enters the battlefield tapped. Since we have an In Search of Greatness down, we will also get a scry at the start of turn. And I'll be able to put Arwen into play. Actually, I just get to put Arwen into play. What do you bounce? My elf? Okay, Elvish Mystic back into hand means that this won't trigger. Oh no, I get 0 to 1. Never mind, we get the Elvish Mystic back into play. Oh, that's adorable. This does upset my mana, though. And I'm going to play Galadriel. I am feeling like they're going to have a board wipe, though. Between the Teferi and the white mana. Yep, there's a Day of Judgment. I see you're one of those Kenrith players.
Don't worry, I got you.
I wanted to have free spells! But apparently I'm not allowed to have that. I'm going to play the Sphinx of Foresight. If it sticks around, I get the Gargaroth into play for free. Stick around, Sphinx! They could also bounce it into hand with Teferi. Or just make me sacrifice it. Joy, oh joy. We get a Scry, it is another land. I'm gonna throw that to the bottom. See what we draw instead. It is Cultivate. I could play the Gargaroth, I just don't think that will get me very far, so I'm going to Cultivate. Grab 2 basics, 1 green, and 1 blue. I'm gonna put the Forest into play. And here's Arwen. Arwen gets me payoff for scrying, gets me a +1/+1 counter onto a creature. Vraska, Betrayal Sting. Can turn creatures into treasures, but they still do have their mana value. So if I did have a 3-drop in my hand, I don't. Oh, there's one. I would be able to put it out, but I don't. Here comes Galadriel. I'm going to use the Great Havens to scry. That is a land. We will reveal it. And we reveal! I actually do have, like, Fading Hope putting this back into hand and scrying. Right? Oh, no, it's not a creature right now. I could sacrifice it for the Palantír. I have this feeling that they're going to be killing Galadriel in some way or another, or bouncing it. So instead, I'll go with this. And I think that they will mill the first card. So with the 1 counter on the Palantír of Orthanc, do you mill or do you draw? Either way, it's good for me. Yeah, Gandalf. Like that orb, take 2 life and give me a land. I have more mana than they do. They have 5, I have 9. I'm happy about that. I like that. They're going to put Galadriel back into my hand. Fine use of Teferi. And they'll be able to proliferate their planeswalkers using Vraska. Vraska is unfortunately a good card to include in a lot of these very control-ish decks. What do you discard? They got a spell-off key to the archive, and they're dropping a Vorinclex. That actually seems like a wild choice considering their number of planeswalkers. Whatever they got, they must really want. Alright, well then I'll take a counterspell. Sounds like a good move to me. And I'm going to play Elder Gargaroth! I won't be able to cast spells during their turn though, so we're just gonna throw down 2 creatures for now. I have to get rid of this guy first. Ugh! Got a load of this guy. We Scry! And I'm gonna throw both of these to the bottom because they are both not cards with high mana value, so they're not good to mill, and I don't really want either of them in hand. Gretchen would be the one I'd want in hand. Alright, so it was a land that they had us draw. We're gonna reveal. It is not a land, it's the Lighted Halfling. Good old 5-color good stuff. Reach the Multiverse. They're going to be milling both players and getting a creature or planeswalker. So I see a Golos, I see Kaya. This is the big, scary Kaya. I really don't like that one. I can make a copy of one of these. Scoot Swarm, I think, would be a pretty good choice here. Nissa, do not take the Nissa. She will die immediately. Vivian's good. Vivian destroys the orb. I think Scoot would be a good pick, though. Okay, so they got their Vorinclex. And Nissa, who enters the battlefield with 0 counters because X is 0. Kenrith players. They're gonna get double the counters on their things because they are proliferating with the Vorinclex out. And Teferi has enough loyalty that they just bounce the Gargaroth back into hand. Ugh, Teferi! I have a way to kill him next turn. And they have too many cards in hand. Okay, so a Frilled Mystic we can't cheat into play, but that doesn't actually help me, so we're going to decline, we're going to scry, it does the land, so we are going to reveal it and get it into play. Bam. Love that for us. Wow, I can't believe 2 times 0? What an amazing amount of mana! Fading Hope, throw Vorinclex back into hand. Take Galadriel, kill Teferi! Die, you monster! Elder Gargaroth! Stick on the battlefield! Okay. They're going to, I think, let me draw here. But if they don't, it's awesome either way. I will not reveal, because we know it is a Jace on top of the deck. That is a 7-mana Emrakul, because of that Breach the Multiverse giving me such a big mill. They've already wiped the board once. We still don't know what spell they got off the archive. It could have been another board wipe. Yeah, they could get Day of Judgment. Okay, they have 6 lands. These now tap for any color of mana. And my chat has demanded a vocabulary word! Volatile. You know what's going to be volatile? My opponent's emotional state as I counter their emergent ultimatum. No one-off win cons for you, buddy! Cool Jace. I'll go through the rest of that. We decline. I'm going to begin with an attack. And you know what's cool? Emrakul. We're gonna take our opponent's next turn. I'm also gonna play Jace. And they're gonna lose.
You just don't know it yet.
Traxa Grand Unifier! I have no green mana in my hand. This doesn't get it for me, this doesn't get it for me. But I have 2 Scry lands, which is super good with Galadriel. Doesn't matter, gonna throw it to the bottom. And it's still blue. But I would say I have more early playables, so I'm gonna keep this hand. And I play Island! Who are we up against? Atraxa. No, not that Atraxa, the other Atraxa. This is the Atraxa that's the 7 mana 7/7 with Vigilance, Lifelink, Death Touch, and Flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you refill your hand by looking at the top 10 cards of your library and grabbing one of each card type and putting it into your hand, if you want to. You can also leave some in your library, because otherwise you'll overfill your hand and have to discard. Ooh, do you want to drop Kasmina or the Oracle of the Alpha? They said, no oracles of the Alpha allowed for. They put it straight in the trash. Too bad I got a snake. I love this. Don't kill... You know Steppy Snake. I saw... Did you see that? They just looked at my snake like they were gonna Steppy on it. Good. Now I have Galadriel and a snake. Okay, well now I actually have a legitimate business person and a snake. Which means that scrying, not gonna do the job. Let's see if this Vivian resolves. She does, how wonderful, and we're gonna use her to get rid of the witness protection. And swing for 5. Huh, they did not play a land here. Let's see if we can find a land. Vivian, very good at grabbing. Ooh. Now listen. It's a little greedy. But I can scry. This Jace scries actually a little bit more than the Kasmina does. But I'd rather kick Jace. Yes, I know we all want to kick Jace. If I have the opportunity. Alright, and I reveal! I can't actually do anything with that extra mana. But I still feel like I'm ahead on lands. I'm ahead on damage. I have 2 planeswalkers on the board. I'm feeling pretty good here. Bye, Atraxa. Eat my value. We are up against Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty, a fellow Simic ramp commander. But the way that she ramps is through Cascade. Ooh, and the way that I scry is through Thinks of Foresight. That's why this card's in the deck, because it lets me scry. I'll just put all the lands here. I'll draw lands. I can use those for, you know, land stuff. I love land stuff. I'm actually going to move the island to the bottom. Perfect. Nice. Nice. So what Emoti does is, in the early game, you ramp. You play creatures that tap for mana. You play artifacts that tap for mana. You play cards that search your library for a land and put them into play. And then you get to Emoti. And once Emoti comes out, the cascade begins. You cast a big spell, something that costs 6 or more, and you get another spell from your library cast for free. It's the top one that costs less. All right, we want Elrond, Uro, or Oracle. I'm going to start with Uro here. A Fabled Passage. I'll take that Fabled Passage. And I might actually scry with the treasure map here before I get either of these scry guys out. Ooh, Erixmathes! It is a spell, but it's also a land, and it's asleep. But it will turn into a 12/12 fairly soon. I love land. Oh, I love Nissa. Nissa, Fabled Passage, Galadriel. All friends. Here comes Nissa. This is the Lotus Cobra-like Nissa. Crack open that Fabled Passage. Float some mana. Get some more green. Comes into play untapped. Since she triggered twice in a turn, we get an elf out of our library. Oh my god, we got Elrond. 2 Elronds. I'll take that. So if you play this Elrond and this Elrond and this Galadriel together, you You can get some wild stuff going on. If you have this Elrond and this Elrond, one of the things you can do best is you can go infinite with a card like Scry. I don't have that in my deck, but if you like combos, then having something where you scry, you put a +1/+1 counter, and whenever you get a creature, you get a scry, means that you can just kind of go deeper. There's also Baloths. Same thing. Same thing as Scry, just costs more mana. Here comes Galadriel, and we scry. Tatiova's awesome. She turns landfall into card draw, but what I want right now is a land. Not a landfall, just a land. And I reveal. Aha! A land! I can't actually do anything with it. I just wanted to ramp. And I did. Would you like to trade Emoti and Llanowar Visionary for my Elrond? No. That's fair. They're able to cast Beanstalk Giant. They have enough mana, and it would be a big boy. Not sure if they want to, though. The beans! Oh no, it's the beans! Rick Smithies goes down to 2 nap time counters. And they cascade into a Leafkin Druid. Nice. Each of these are a spell cast. You cast spells off Cascade, so this is almost a 12/12. Cool, a wash away. That hits the things that they cascade into. Well, I'm going to scry. I'm going to scry like mad. Ooh. Is that a land on top of my library? Why? I would love one. Let's make Elrond even bigger. He's going to be my beater here. We reveal, we get the landfall. And I'm going to play another creature. That way we get the second trigger off Elrond. This Elrond. Oh my god, there's too many Elronds. We scry. I'm going to turn the bird into my ring bearer. Put more +1/+1 counters onto Elrond. Reveal because we have a land on top. That lets me float some mana. Ah, an Elvish Mystic! And we scry, we scry. There's 2 lands on top. I'm actually going to keep both of those because we have Elrond and we have more triggers to do. You and you. And you. Everybody get bigger. Reveal the top card. It is a land that's going to get me another landfall, which gets me more mana. We're going to use that for the Elvish Mystic, which is a creature entering the battlefield, so we get another scry. We already know what's on top of our library. It is a land. We're going to make the Elrond bigger. We're going to reveal the land. We're going to get ourselves a sweet, sweet bit of mana floating. I'm going to use that to scry. We scry. It's a time warp. I'm going to put the time warp to the bottom because I already know what I'm doing here. I'm flipping over my treasure map. And we're going to make Elrond bigger. And then I'm going to reveal, because I have no idea what's on top, it's Counterspell! You want to cast the Sphinx? I don't want to cast the Sphinx. I attack with Dummy Thick Elrond, Master of Healing! And he goes, ka-chunk! My man's been hitting the gym! So right now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana available to them. That's enough to get a Emoti. We have 1 counterspell. And another on top of the library. Oh, Worm. Let's see what they hit on the Cascade. It was Llanowar Elf. Yeah, you can have a Llanowar Elf. And I am going to counter Sandworm Convergence. I might not have many flyers, but I have Oracle the Alpha, and I want to use it to scry. So I'm going to burn my treasures. And our opponent's going to concede. Because I've got a good chicken nugget. I actually have a Portal to Pheresis coming down. Game's in the bag. Let's go Galadriel. Atali Primal Conqueror. It's the dino with the Crymo. This is a hand that has a counterspell. And a bunch of good stuff. But no green. So I'm gonna mulligan. This seems better. I've got some lands that scry. I still have a Scoot Swarm. I've got some Planeswalkers. And I have more scry payoff with Elrond. So I know I have, like, payoff for scry. And I want to wait with some of the scry. But I also really do want to get my tapped lands in now so I can play on a better curve. And I feel I can afford that. Let's go for a Mazemind Tome. I'll be able to use this to scry 4 times or draw cards. And Oracle of Moldiah! This will let them play an extra land and play lands off the top of their library. The dino is ramping! Well, 2 can play that game. I went for the shock over the Scry here because I'm hoping that I get, nice, a non-Scry land so I can save this for Galadriel and Elrond. Both of them. Here they're hanging out. They're friends. I know Galadriel's like behind me. Here, I'll move her over toward my hand. Oh, Koga and Yadaro. They're gonna destroy my Mazemind Tome before I can use it. Tail's End is probably a great card for me to have, since Atali is best countered so they don't get to cast 3 spells for free. There are a bunch of things in Gruul that make it so their creatures are uncounterable, but so far they do not have any of those on the battlefield. So we're gonna go for Galadriel and the Grey Havens. A forest is on top. We say, ooh, what a nice thing to scry to. We reveal it and put it into play. They can possibly play a Tali next turn or this turn, depending on the lands, I think. Yeah, because they have 6. So if they had another land, then they could have gotten there. I feel like that lightning bolt might have a home on Galadriel's face. Skyclave Relic, not kicked. And Lightning Bolt! In response to the Lightning Bolt, we use the Omen of the Sea to scry 2 and then draw a card. I'm going to put both of those to the bottom. I'm going to draw whatever the card happens to be. And then I will reveal! It was a land! Oh, excellent! Look at all that value. I could leave Galadriel in the graveyard for Uro. I'm not going to. Scoot! Skiboot! Scoot, skiboot, scoot. Making a couple bugs, getting some scries. What do we find? Bombadil's Song. I don't feel like I need Bombadil's Song here. It'd be cool, like, to get around some of the removal that's built into Luca, but right now we're just holding open Tail's End. Burn down the house. Everybody dies! Other Atali! Oh, what a nice card to see. I won't have enough mana with you, so I think I'll play Elrond. Fall of Gil-galad. Alright, so we have the Scry. We're gonna get some +1/+1 counters. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep a Scry on top, and I do think I will. Yeah. Get a +1/+1 counter. Nice. And chill. Here's the no Atalis. Dinosaur too scary. Dinosaur also turns into Blightsteel Colossus. No dinosaurs. Get 2 +1/+1 counters on Elrond. He is now as large as the dinosaur. We scry. Fabled Passage. I will take that. That is a land. Make Elrond even bigger. Reveal! Nissa. We're going to pay X equals 2, since we can. And I will, once again, reveal! Do I want the Sphinx? I'll take the Sphinx as my draw next turn. We scry 2, so we get 2 +1/+1 counters. We reveal and we get a land, and I'm going to swing for 9. Next turn, I have a fight off Fall of Gil-galad. So if they do replay their commander Atali, oh, I'm ready to fight. So they're gonna get Sphinx of Foresight. I knew that this was a risk if they did end up playing it again, but they had other cards in hand, so I was thinking like, oh, maybe they'll go from Domri. But these are all fine with me. Vorn collects Sphinx of Foresight, 2 big creatures where they're gonna get 2 more forests in hand. Oh, look, a land, but a land that enters tapped. Elrond! You want to fight that dinosaur? Hell yeah, you do. Go get it. Nice. Love that for us. We have enough cards now in our graveyard to escape Uro. So let's escape Uro. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wasn't that nice? Yeah, I'll put a land into play. I will plus. There's a land and a Nissa. I will get that land into play. And I can also use the Omen. I don't really feel like I need to, though. Let's just play this island. I'm just gonna maximize the stuff I have on this battlefield. Now, if I attack with Elrond, I probably should have held the land back just for that. I feel like I don't need him, and trading him for one of these is fine, but I could also just leave him back. They have some fight spells available, and I want to be able to scry in response to the fight spells. Mostly so I can make them into trades, rather than just my creatures dying. Yeah, they have both a fight and also whatever you want to call Luca. Damage equal to number of damage from creature, but not a bite spell or a fight spell. Oh god, that's a burden rejuvenation. Right now they have a 5-cost creatures that are going to get 5 permanents into play. 5 creatures, enchantments, whatever else. Nice. Hi, Kogla. Alright, so I will draw a card. And then I will activate Omen of the Sea. That would be a cool big spell to cast next turn. I'll take that. Get an extra +1/+1 counter on you and you. I'm still sitting on that Fabled Passage, too. But we can replay Galadriel. I have plenty of mana. A fine trade. They have 2 flyers here now, so they will be able to attack and kill Nissa if they want to. Little do they know, we have Nissa 2! Burden Rejuvenation. Mistake of a card. At least theirs didn't get a pile of Planeswalkers, probably because their Planeswalkers are all in hand. Let's grab Nissa. Activate Fabled Passage. Grab a forest. Pull out some more green. And use Turn Timber Symbiosis. I'll take a big Vorinclex. Yeah, with them having some Planeswalkers, that sounds great. That sounds excellent. Hey, Elrond, do the thing. This Vorinclex I'm not attacking with because I don't want him to trade with himself. And I have 5 cards in my graveyard. If I play Elrond here, he would be a 1/1. Or sorry, not Elrond. A-Alrund. There we go. Elrond. Yeah, there's too much of this. We could play this as a 3/3 to do some silly bouncy stuff, but I'd rather just play the front side, and I'm going to name, I think, Creature. Creature sounds really good. Gimme. Oh, look! A snake! Looks like the hit that would have gotten me the most cards was actually Artifact. They are exiling my Uro from my graveyard using the Scrap Gorger. Rippy Pappies. Is it time for, once again, a Tali Primal Conqueror? No, they want to make more mana, so they're using Nissa, who shakes the world. She's going to let their forests each tap for 2, which gives them enough mana just straight on the board, even with Vorinclex cutting down her loyalty by half. Oh god, they stole my Emrakul. You know what happens to all of us. Sometimes you put Emrakul in your deck, and sometimes your opponent plays a dinosaur and plays your Emrakul. I was gonna be my Emrakul. So anyway, the game is over. Because they're going to take control of my next turn. Which means they're just going to kill all of my creatures by having Elrond swing into the Emrakul, and Vorinclex swing into a Tali, and A-Alrund bop this Atali, and this is just going to spiral off into defeat into the Sphinx of Farsight. I have no hope to survive, make my time. Because then I might get another turn after that, but they already got my biggest comeback card there is, Emrakul. Why are you cultivating? Oh, because you can choose 0 basics off Cultivate, so they can burn that spell. Yeah, Cultivate is up to 2 basics in case you fail to find, I think. Okay. Nice blockers. So I won't have much blocking when I re-enter the battlefield. I have no creatures. I have no cards. Oh, a treasure map. I mean, I may as well play everything, right? Lotus Cobra. Galadriel. Treasure. Scry for me. And find a... Nah, that doesn't do it. And if there's a land on top of my deck, allow me to... Reveal! That was a land. Would you look at that? Oh, cool, Scry land. Can't use that right now. Nah, yeah, I'm no blocker, but I'm pretty sure that if they play Domri and they give all their creatures an extra power, that's like lethal pretty much just in the air. It's like exactly lethal just in the air. All they have to do is attack with Emrakul and the Goldspan and Sphinx. I'm quite dead. Very dead. Hi, Luca. You don't need to do this. Luca, you don't need to do this! Dying to... Ugh. The worst lad. Aren't you all glad that they killed Luca? We're all glad that they killed Luca. I love how they, like, Phyrexianized him, and he was just, like, on this strike team as a... Yeah, we gotta, you know... put some stakes on the line. What happens if Luca gets turned into a Phyrexian? Yet nobody will care. Nobody liked Luca. He sucked. He was sympathetic in his first story, and then he came back and was like, yeah, I'll murder school children because people thought I looked weird. Of course he would. That's just his vibe. GG, Atali. Shelob. She's a spider, and she likes to fight. Because whenever a spider deals combat damage which kills a creature, you end up getting yourself a food token that's a copy of the dead creature. It's actually more specifically, if a creature dies that was dealt damage by a spider, you get Shelob's friendly little food token. Well, I have a turn 1 Llanowar elf, so I'm happy. I'm going to use that elf to ramp. Gonna grab myself a Topiary Stomper, since I don't have any Scry engines in hand. That happen the turn they come out. This one's really nice, but it happens after. It's at the upkeep. I'm just gonna throw down my dino. Nice! Love that. Alright, we've got a forest. I've got enough mana for both the Lifecrafter's Bestiary and Lost Isle Calling, or Galadriel and Lost Isle Calling. I'm going to go with the Bestiary, because Scries are just helpful in a vacuum, and it will fuel this, the Lost Isle Calling. This will get me verses, which eventually get me an extra turn and a handful of cards. Or just a handful of cards if I don't have quite enough Scry. Ooh, Invasion of Zendikar! They're gonna get 2 lands, 2 basics. Wow, this is a lot of black mana. Bestiary, I will take the Mystic. We Scry, so we get a verse counter. And I will play the Elvish Mystic, paying 1 green in order to draw a card. Nice, Fading Hope. Do I want to draw a card, or do I want to hold up Fading Hope? They're running blood on this now. And this lets me save one of my creatures. But I don't think I need that, I'm just going to draw a card. Sweet! Here's Shelob! She has ward, she's big, she's scary, and she fights. Rather than try and find a land, I'm just going to draw this, since it gets me more Scries. And I could even just bounce Shelob back into hand, but I want to do that in response to them, well, using her abilities, because she's really scary, and attacking in for like a little damage this turn isn't what I really feel I need. So I'm going to sit here, I'm going to wait, just hanging out with my dino, a couple elves. She's also an elf, but she's like a different kind of elf. Ooh, a Verdant Rejuvenation. So Verdant Rejuvenation cares about the creature you have on the battlefield. But the highest mana value they have among creatures they control is 0, so they will seek 0 cards. Love that for us. And rather than scry, I'm just going to draw here. Ah, I got a land. Looks like the scry would have worked. Speaking of scries, here's the scry that gets me a land, and it also gets me some counters on my thingy. Ba-bam, ba-bing. Nice counter spell. Let's do it again. A little bit more scry. That's a Turn Timber Symbiosis. I am going to, as this scry resolves, before Galadriel gets her trigger, draw a card. I'm going to use the Grey Havens. Excuse me. Here we go. Perfect. Putting that into hand. And now I will reveal. Ah, it was a land. Nice. I could either hold up the counter spell, or I could play Turn Timber Symbiosis. Greed is good. And I find Elrond, Master of Healing. Another scry payoff. Looking good. Looking good. So now we have an army on the battlefield, and they are ramping. Settled Wild gets them a land, puts it into play, and also gets them a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cost permanent. Portal to Phyrexia? I didn't notice if it didn't put something into their hand. I'm pretty sure it did, though. Pretty sure it did. Oh, well, arrow. They're going to sacrifice a land to get 2 more. That gives them 4 mana still up. According to people in my chat, they didn't seek anything, which means they don't have a 9-cost permanent in their library. Intis Restoration is going to behave very similarly to the Harrow, or more similarly to Roiling Regrowth. Okay, we scry. That's a land on top. We may as well get it into play for free. You, do the thing. Reveal. Get a land. In Search of Greatness. More scry. I'm gonna scry again. Ah, Kiribes the Sea Gods. That's just a good card. I'll just keep that there. Do not reveal the top card of my library. And we need 7. So we're off by 1 for Lost Isle Calling. But we have so much damage that I'm feeling pretty good here. If I want to, I can sacrifice this to draw 6 cards. But I want 6 cards and an extra turn. I'll let you have Shelob. You have as many lands as I do. Shelob does not stop lethal. They don't get the food until after combat damage is done. And right now, we are beating them just by numbers alone. Okay, Commune Barrier does give them enough blockers. Do I want to counter? I will. Yeah. Counter the final card in their hand. Ah, look. A nice card to scry to. It is almost as if I knew it was there. We will buff up Llanowar Elf. And it cannot prevent lethal damage. We swing in. Elves win. No spiders. Only elves. Red Hot Pancakes is playing Tameshi, Reality Architect. Tameshi brings back artifacts and enchantments from the graveyard to the battlefield. It's a very interesting and unusual legendary creature because it also gets you card draw if any non-creature permanent was returned to any player's hand. It's kind of weird. Even if I'm bouncing things back into my hand, or if they're bouncing my things back into my hand, Tameshi still triggers. Oftentimes what you end up with Tameshi are these nice self-sacrificing artifacts that end up fueling yourself as you get very kind of like cool and very rapid buildups of value. The downside with Tameshi is that you have to return lands to your hand to get that ability. And if you're returning lands to your hand, then, well, you end up down on mana, so you need ways to get lots of ramp, which isn't that easy in blue and white. Alright, so we have a forest. I could hold open a counter spell. I could In Search of Greatness. I think we just hold the counter spell / the joint exploration. Michiko's Reign of Truth currently has nothing to target, so she's just kind of sitting here and buffing things. And I am going to scry and draw, paying 1 life to do so. Tale's End and a Cultivate. I like both of these, so I will take both of these. One we draw as part of joint exploration, and the other one we just draw naturally as part of our turn. Hinterland Harbor comes in untapped, and do I care to ramp? No, I'll just play in Search of Greatness. This gets me more scry at the start of my turn, and I don't think they'll counter it, and it lets me hold up Wash Away for their commander. Lay Claim! That is a big scary aura to bring back. Portrait of Michiko flips over and is a 1/1. They only have one enchantment, and it's her. A painting of her. Citizen's Crowbar? Hey, that lets them destroy In Search of Greatness! But first they would have to re-equip it and scooch it over. Temple of Mystery? Oh, it is a mystery. It's a mystery how much everybody likes this card. No, it's not. Everybody likes this card because it's good! I am going to play a Forest, and I'm going to use Cultivate. This way, still holding up the Wash Away. And we're gonna grab blue, and I think more blue. Just setting up so I can play Galadriel, trigger her, and hold up some other abilities during our turn. Mox Amber! Currently no legends on the battlefield. Chrome Courier! I don't even remember what you do. It's something artifacty, right? Oh no, it's just card advantage. Enters the battlefield. If you put an artifact into your hand, you gain life. Aw, but you didn't put the artifact into your hand. That makes me kind of sad. I guess they can bring that back with Tameshi. That's kind of cool. I was talking about how sometimes it feels like you run out of lands. That is the lands. And they destroy In Search of Greatness. But it was so great. It was so great. Here comes Gretchen. And a land. Gretchen is going to sit here and threaten to draw me a card. She's also going to block because she's a 0/4. Gretchen is a menace. She's a problem. She's a bother. And we... Tail's End to start. Tameshi goes away. They swing in. I will block the Portrait of Michiko. Did they finish her off? They do! She has 3 damage marked on her, and they turned her into a 1/1 with Witness Protection. Oh, how rude! I'm going to Scry! It's not a land, but I feel like it is good against this kind of player, but I already have 2 counter spells in hand. I'm not in the mood for that. So I instead reveal! Haha, I got a land. I will play Fall of Gil-galad and scry some more. Vivian and Teferi. Yes, they're both very good spells, but you know what? They're not lands. So what I'm going to do is reveal! Reclamation Sage. Against an artifacts and enchantments deck. Useless. Terrible. Hate it. Put it away. Oh, nice. They also have Hall of Storm Giants here, which they can animate soon. They don't quite have enough mana since this Mox Amber currently isn't generating mana. Oh, to play a ramp deck as a tempo deck. Such criminal behavior. Hey, Tameshi. Do you have a counter spell? Bye, Tameshi. Sorry, dude. Next turn, I'll be putting 2 +1/+1 counters onto Galadriel. I'm not going to block. And then on the turn after, we can fight. I still have a counter spell in hand. I have this Frilled Mystic. Who do I want to destroy? Chrome Courier? Maybe Portrait of Michiko? Maybe even Mox Amber. I'll destroy Portrait of Michiko. She's the biggest. And I will attack with Galadriel! Go! Get him! So with the Fall of Gil-galad, you can actually choose to intentionally kill your creature with the fight. For example, Reclamation Sage fighting this Chrome Courier. The reason to do that would be so you draw some cards, which I might do, because right now the only card I have in my hand is Frilled Mystic, and I want more than Frilled Mystic in hand. Hey, do you want to play Tameshi again? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's nice that you tried. Nadrin! Thank you for the 6-month resub. Sorry you have to see my horrible villainous behavior as I bully this Tameshi player out of the queue. GG. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars. If you want the deck list, it is in the description of the video. I hope you don't mind that I played Galadriel so close to the first time that I played her for Brawl Stars, but I figured this deck is good enough and has enough interesting plays that it's worth showing off twice. Galadriel, by the way, you can build her with some interesting synergy with Snow as well. I have seen some people running the enchantment that flips over and gets you a Merit Lage, because you can do some Snowland stuff where you keep revealing Snowland to Scry to Snowland to Scry until you get yourself a giant indestructible token. It's pretty neat. This deck is very fun though, and I have enjoyed playing it a lot. I also just like ramp decks in general, so, you know, you get to ramp with this deck. It makes me happy. As always, if you'd like to see me record this kind of video live, and also just like play Magic in general, come on over to twitch.tv/Amazonian. I play Magic almost every single day, and occasionally I do other strange streams. Recently I did Hot Dog Quest, where I walked 8 miles to a Costco to buy a hot dog for $1.50, and I live streamed the entire thing, and yes, I did get the Costco hot dog. It was good. I enjoyed eating it very much. There was a beautiful tour of downtown Boston. We looked at the rivers. We saw some big birds. It was really cool. So again, come on over to Twitch. It's where I stream so dang often. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a brawlful day.